Welcome to the JP8 report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 report, episode 438. I'm sorry, I am a little bit distracted right now. Hold on just a second. Let me finish this up real quick. Okay. But thank you all very much for tuning in this morning. And yep, there we go, right there. All right. Thanks for tuning in to the JPA report. So let's get started, okay? Just so you know, as a matter of scheduling, tomorrow morning, I have a VA appointment at 9 a.m. So there will not be a regularly scheduled JPA report at 8 a.m. Central. It'll be at 6 a.m. Central, and I just won't do the morning brief. So I'll do a full JP8 from 6 a.m. Central to 7 a.m. Central, and then rate in events, okay? And then I'll leave from here to go to Temple to my VA appointment. All right. Thanks for tuning in. If you are not already um, um, a follower of the JPA report, next to where it says the JPA report, you'll see a bell. Click the bell and then go down to the bottom, and you will see the word follow. Click follow, and you are a follower. Huh. Woo! Just not a follower of mine, but a follower of the podcast. No big deal. Okay. And then give me a thumbs up for a like for the post. All right. So that's easy. And then, and then you can chat with me. There's no one in the chat room right now but me, but you're more than welcome to get in there. Before we really get going, I had my, I was in there watching Vince a while ago, and my wife had just came out of the bedroom, and we were just talking about because he was showing some stuff about Justice Barrett, Amy Coney Barrett on his podcast, and I was talking because she was complaining that uh, she had to talk to her 12-year-old son about the aspects of her having to wear body armor, bulletproof vest, right? And because she said, I have to wear a bulletproof vest, and I came in the door of the house and took the bulletproof vest off and put it on my dining room table or something like that, right? And her 12-year-old son said, well, asked her, well, why do you have to wear it? And and he said the same thing I was saying. I was like, I told Ann, I was like, you know what? Thinking about it, and maybe all these threats coming from the left and making her wear this body armor have influenced some of her decisions to moderate. Because when she was first confirmed, she was like a very serious conservative justice, and she's moderated big time on a lot of her opinions. And maybe the influx of the threats on her life and her family's life, maybe that had a bearing on her decisions. And then um, and then Vince said the same thing right after I said that to her. Unbelievable. What I told her, and that she should have told her 12-year-old son, was like, son, this is something I have to wear to protect my life, because I have to make decisions that affect people every day in our country. And one of the byproducts of me making this decision is that people don't like it, and they will do whatever they can to keep me from making those decisions um, that are really, really important to you and your future. That's what she should have. Um, I had to make the same. Do you think for years of my life being in the Army that I actually had to, I had body armor right here at the house. I mean, I got paid to wear body armor, but, you know, I had to explain to my kids, and we made a game out of it. I put it on them like, hey, look, feel how heavy this is. Uh, but they knew the risk I was taking for my life to protect their life and the Constitution with what I did. Maybe she should have looked in the mirror and do that. If she can't face facts that her life is at risk being a Supreme Court justice, maybe she should look for another line of work, and we can get another justice appointed in her place. But life is full of risk, and she made that decision when she took that oath of office when she got confirmed. All right, that's not even part of my podcast today, but that's just something I saw. All right, so where am I at? Oh, I'm in America 250. I ain't even got started yet. All right, it's already 8:06. All right, y'all ready for this? So what we got? America 250. This Second Continental Congress received word from New York that it reversed its vote and approved the Declaration of Independence, making it unanimous throughout all 13 colonies. All right, and then the Second Continental Congress continued debate on the Articles of Confederation, and then a letter was received from Nathaniel Barber Jr. to John Adams. Okay, so, sir, you being president of the Board of War, I make bold to ask you a favor of you. I have the care of all military stores under the Honorable General Ward. He's the general in charge of I believe, Boston. Um, as you will see by my return on the second, my pay is not fixed. I know no better method to get it done than by making application to the Honorable Board. I have not the pleasure to be personally acquainted with you, yet hope you'll excuse the freedom I have taken. While I continue in the service of my country, I have no more desire than will enable me to support a decent appearance and keep good company. I will be needless to acquaint you that I am in a place of trust. Please to examine my return and judge yourself. My duty is such that I must give constant attendance every day and think I'm justly entitled to captain's pay. If you will be so kind enough to afford me the interest, I will thankfully acknowledge the favor and shall always endeavor to be your esteemed. Okay, I have two conductors in the store with me, and their pay is not fixed. General Horatio Gates promised his influence to get them $15 per month. Okay, so that's why why in the world did I print this off? Because Horatio Gates, he's a blowhard. He actually did pretty good at the Battle of Saratoga, but he was always one of them that tried to get the job of General Washington. Uh, he's really a turncoat. He's not a very good general. All right. So where are we at? Oh yeah, I lost track with that little monologue. It's raining again. Man, we got a lot of rain out here. All right. So we have the armament shop. Whether you're looking for your first firearm, upgrading your setup, or need expert service, Jason at the Armament Shop is Copper's Cove's premier source for all things shooting. Browse our wide selection of pistols, rifles, and shotguns, backed by top-tier gunsmithing for repairs, along with reloading supplies and professional cleaning to keep your firearm in peak condition. Need a transfer? We make FFL transfers fast, easy, and affordable. Need your CHL? Jason can handle those classes. He has over 3 decades of experience. Visit the Armament Shop today at 115A West Avenue D in Copper's Cove, or call or text at 254-560-2023, or visit www.armamentshop.com. That's www.armamentshop.com. The Armament Shop, your safety, our priority. All right, so let me get set up. Okay, I'm ready. And here we go. The Iran update. CENTCOM says Iran intentionally is targeting civilians. Iran says the U.S. only knows the language of force. The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, and Jordan's foreign minister discussed Iran yesterday, and at the same time, guess what? Iran attacked them with drones and missiles. They also attacked Iraq also. The Secretary of War encouraged Iraq to disarm Iranian militias. Maybe that's why Iran attacked Iraq yesterday. I'm going to stop right there. The president had a press conference with the new Iraqi prime minister yesterday. Seems like so he's 41 years old. So that puts him 20 years ago. That would be 2007 or 2006. That would make him 21. Wow. So he was a military age male when I was in Iraq. Okay. But he seemed like a mild mannered guy. And he has a degree, he has a master's degree in finance. Yes, finance. It's like, wow. Okay. Very, very smart guy. And hopefully he can handle the problems that are going on in Iraq right now. But yeah, the Sec War asked them to disarm the Iranian militias that are running around inside of Iraq, firing missiles and drones at U.S. installations. And by September 30th, also, I didn't have it written down, all remaining troops that are in Iraq will be redeployed back to the United States. So we will no longer have a military presence inside of Iraq, military base presence. I wouldn't doubt if now and then you have an SF group or a Rangers group going in there and training with Iraqi military. You never know, right? So the Secretary of Treasury froze $130 million in Iranian assets yesterday. So that kind of recouped the money that they were making off oil for the last month or so. So no more oil money for the Iranians. Kuwait and Bahrain were both attacked by missiles and drones yesterday. Kuwait was attacked by 39 missiles and drones, and Bahrain intercepted everything that came to it. Trump says Iran has no choice but to make a deal. The Strait of Hormuz traffic is down by 90%. Trump says Iran will be hit hard next week. Call it roads and bridges or bridges and power plant thing. The blockade is in full effect. The IRGC will end this on this funny note. The IRGC says not a single drop of oil or gas will leave the region. But they didn't say, was it Iranian oil and gas or was it Gulf area countries oil and gas won't leave the region. I fully believe that our blockade is effective to keep the Iranians from sitting oil out. So, but that's another thing. The Dow Jones finished up yesterday at 9.63. It was settled at 52,508.27. Stock market opens up in 15 minutes. All right. The oil was down again this morning at $79.47 a barrel for West Texas Intermediate, and Brent crude oil is $84.94 a barrel. It dropped from 2 hours ago. It dropped. Okay. And then for announcements, we have tomorrow night, we have Area 254, Pints and Politics at 6 p.m. in Killeen at 901 South 4 Hood Street. Next is Smoking Hot Conservatives on the 20th of July at the Leaf Affair, 4110 South Clear Creek Road at the Leaf Affair. It's Smoking Hot Conservatives where you got conservatives that smoke cigars. They'll get together in a room and smoke and joke and talk about politics. Okay. The next one is this one. uh, Pints in Politics in Gatesville. All the Pints in Politics I've talked about so far with Chip Howe with Elephant in the Room Strategies. This is 6 p.m. on Thursday, July 23rd at Ranchers. All right. And the Masters of the Ceremony is going to be Gracie the Giraffe. If you know, you know. And then we have Coryell County Republican Women are going to be on the 25th of July with Dr. Mark Fulmer as our guest speaker. He's going to be talking about Islamicism. You're welcome to attend. They're going to be at 1802 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive at Trinity Worship Center at 11 a.m. All right, because they usually meet at um, 9:30, but they made a time change. They're going to start doing it at like 11 o'clock. Okay, gives you a chance to sleep in on a Saturday morning. Um, and then we have Coryell County Republican Party, which is Coryell County Republican Party is going to meet on the 28th of July at 6 p.m. at the junction at Route 36 in Gatesville. And our primary that we're going to be doing is the fish fry planning. And also we have a gun range coming up on the 29th of August also. And we'll start putting stuff out about that. All right. So that's your announcements. So next we have the president's speech. He will be doing a speech tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a potpourri of different subjects that he was talking about. So people are going to be there, and I got it behind me on my list of stuff, is the FBI director, the CI director, the acting director of the DNI, unless Jay Clayton gets confirmed and sworn in, but I don't think it's going to be that fast. And then one other, Mark Wayne Mullen, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary. All of them are supposed to be in the room with the president tomorrow. The rumors are he's going to be talking about the FBI investigation in Georgia about ballots, about ballot machines, about election integrity, about potential the potential foreign influence in the 2020 election. They're going to be talking about the Save America Act. They're going to be talking about a couple other things he said about Iran. He's going to be included in there. Vince made a suggestion earlier. How about let's see if we can get Darlene Graham Nordon to be in there with the president also. One of the things that Lindsey Graham was pushing for was the Save America Act, and maybe he can use her to help push that across the finish line. Got to get it past Senator Thune first, right? And Tom Tillis, Lisa Murkowski, Mitch McConnell, Susan Collins, and Tom Tillis, I guess. Those are the people that are really a thorn in the side of a bunch of Republicans trying to keep us from maintaining our majority in the upcoming Congress. On the floor of this, in Senate committees today, at the Judicial Committee, is the confirmation hearing of Todd Blanche to be the next Attorney General. And also, Jay Clayton is going to be at the Intelligence Committee, and he's going to be under confirmation to be the next director of DNI, Director of National Intelligence, all right? The ODNI, Office of the Director of National Intelligence. And I do believe, I don't have a disposition on, did Jamie McDonald get confirmed as the next U.S. Attorney of the Southern District of New York? Because that's supposed to be hand in hand. The confirmation hearing for Jay Clayton is supposed to be going with Jamie McDonald. I don't have that here. I wish I had that. I should have looked it up before I came back here. Matter of fact, honestly, I dozed off between the two podcasts. So I took like a 15-minute nap and I woke up like, oh, what am I doing? And so I should have had that. I'll try to have that tomorrow morning. Uh, but that's all right. And don't forget, tomorrow morning, I go live at 6 a.m. with the JP8 report. There will not be a JP's morning brief tomorrow morning because I have a VA appointment mid-morning. All right, just so you know. So the next confirmation hearing is for Attorney General Ed Todd Blanche. All right, he used to be the personal attorney for President Trump during his farce of the trials that were trying to railroad him, and he won. He was a very, very good lawyer. He became the deputy attorney general under Pam Bondi, and when she left the attorney general's office, he became the acting attorney general. Now, there are people that do not like him, but he should be confirmed. He ain't doing nothing wrong. He's doing the job of the president that the president wants him to do, and he has total autonomy on what he's doing. I've already saw 2 commercials on TV this morning saying not to confirm him. I mean, people are wasting their money, right? So the 2 things I got about Todd Blanche, right? So don't forget about the president's speech tomorrow night. All right, that's going to be important. There's 2 things happening tomorrow. At about 5:30 Central, the next Starship Flight 13 goes up tomorrow, and then tomorrow night is the president's speech. All right. See, like I was telling people on the JP morning brief, I was watching the Ark last night. We watched 2 hours of it because we're trying to ramp up for the season premiere. It's a B-class sci-fi movie. It's actually pretty good. And they're about to start their 3rd season over the course of 5 years, and hopefully it's going to be really good this season. But we like that kind of stuff. I'm old. All right. So this is what the Democrats are saying, right? Washington, D.C.'s entrenched politicos sprang into action last week before key confirmation hearings in the U.S. Senate to try and sink President Donald Trump's nominee for Attorney General. Roughly 1,200 Department of Justice alumni, wow, they got their own alumni. I guess they graduated college there, signed off on a letter on Tuesday sent to high-ranking judicial committee leaders demanding they reject elevating acting Attorney General Todd Blanche as he prepares for confirmation hearings on July 15th and 16th. Blanche, who previously served as former AG Pam Bondi's number 2, has been tapped by the 47th president to do the job permanently, sending the former bureaucrats into a frenzy. Remember the left's 51 intelligence agents when they lied through their teeth about trying to hem up President Trump? You know what? They're doing it again, but they increased the number to 1,200. The signatories of the letters have been trying to stop the process bill themselves as former DOJ employees from Republican and Democrat administrations, which is true. But even a cursory look at some of the names reveals the letter's true hyper-partisan nature. The list of the who's who of partisan activists, including liberal politicians as former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who saw a drastic increase of crime under her tenure, Trump impeachment witness Pamela Karlan, and multiple disgruntled Biden administration officials, some of whom were directly involved in the weaponization of the department, a DOJ spokesman told Fox News of the letter. A former White House official quipped that it looks like they passed a petition from the MS Now green room. They go in where they get prepped to go on the air in MS Now. and said, hey, sign this before you go on the air. Now, this is from the president. He said, Trump says every Republican senator should vote to confirm Todd Blanche as the next attorney general. President Trump said in a Truth Social post ahead of acting Attorney General Todd Blanche's confirmation hearing that every Republican senator should vote to confirm Todd Blanche ASAP. Todd Blanche is doing a phenomenal job as acting Attorney General of the U.S. Under Todd's incredible leadership at the DOJ. Murder is down to its lowest level since 1900, and we just saw the biggest one-year drop in recorded history. Todd has fought hard for religious liberty, in the weaponization of our Justice Department, protected free speech, kept men and women's sports, strengthened election integrity, and gone to all-out war against the fraud like nobody in the history of the Department of Justice. He is tough, brilliant, and 100% loyal to our Constitution and American people, he said. When the corrupt Biden and Justice Department and radical left prosecutors tried to throw me in jail and inferred me to the House 2024 presidential campaign, Todd stood by my side and fought off the lawfare. Trump also said he is a great lawyer, always very fair, and every Republican senator should vote to confirm Todd Blanche ASAP. All right? So that starts today. All right? Hopefully we have a new attorney general in a few days. Hold on. And if you don't mind, I'm going to put a cough drop in there so I don't lose the capability of being able to talk to y'all. All right, so next. Darlene Graham, as I was mentioning a while ago, she should be in the Oval Office with the president tomorrow night. She was sworn in yesterday as the next senator from the state of South Carolina. And as I'm going to read in here, she set off a list of firsts for her as a senator. Graham, who was sworn in Tuesday, and I want to know, is she going by Darlene Graham or Darlene Graham Nordon or Darlene Nordon? I'm seeing Darlene Graham all over the place. Maybe that's what she's going with as she's the U.S. Senator. All right. But she was sworn in Tuesday, both ceremonial and officially. She is the first female senator from the Palmetto State, which is South Carolina. She's the first sister ever appointed to the upper chamber, and she is the first person to fill the colossal gap left behind by her late brother, Senator Lindsey Graham. She said, Lindsey has always been there for me, and now I will be there for him. That's what I named the podcast yesterday for the JP8 report. Darlene Graham said during her appointment ceremony, my brother was the most amazing person, outstanding leader, and a genuinely good man. Though she's never held elected office, she has been the front row seat to her brother's work, appearing with him on the campaign trail and during his own swearing-in ceremonies. It's such a privilege to get to some of his important work, and I promise I will work hard over the next several months to support the president and carry forward the efforts of my brother on behalf of the citizens of South Carolina and the United States. Years ago, when her brother was running for president, he was asked by C-SPAN whether, if he made it to the White House, his sister would get a role in the administration. He had said, if she took a role, it would be a great representative of our country. Can't think of a better person to represent our country in an event than my sister. That's a really good thing to say. Her sudden ascension to the Senate and subsequent swearing-in ceremony on Tuesday is in the old Senate chamber, is just a few yards from the Senate floor, capping a fast-moving first chapter in replacing her brother, whose shocking death sent shockwaves to Washington, D.C. and beyond. Darlene Graham was appointed to fulfill the remainder of her brother's term Monday by South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster. President Trump recommended she get the position, and Senator Tim Scott spoke with her several times before appearing alongside of her in Columbia, South Carolina. Lindsay took care of his little sister in years long departed. It is my honor to ask his little sister, Darlene Graham, to finish his work for him now, McMaster said. She is expected to be the caretaker for the seat, finishing off the remainder of Lindsey Graham's term through January, when a new face will take over as the junior senator from South Carolina, because Tim Scott is now the senior senator from the state of South Carolina. Meanwhile, the public and private battle for the special election to replace Lindsey Graham at the GOP in South Carolina is in full swing. So far, Representatives Nancy Mace and Ralph Norman have shown interest in jumping in the race. And Trump has not made any type of endorsement or weighed into it. The filing season opens up for 1 week on the 21st for anyone who wants to run for the seat, right? And that election date will be on August 11th, and then August 28th will be the runoff if necessary. Good luck, Darlene Graham. You have a large set of shoes to fill. All right. So, Speaker of the House. The Speaker won a victory yesterday as he finally came to an agreement with Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna and her holdout, along with other people, of preventing legislation from making it to the House floor because they wanted something done with the Save America Act. Well, it says here he won a victory against the rebels in the rebellion. Well, you know what? Politics comes with talking things out. And he came to the realization there's more to win with her than to battle her, okay? Because the battle just makes her more and more powerful. And I have nothing against Anna Paulina Luna, because I think she has a humongous future in the United States House of Representatives, just like Brandon Gill does here in Texas. All right. So House conservatives ended their weeks-long blockade of the House floor Tuesday, handing Speaker Mike Johnson a key victory after the rebellion brought legislative process to an end for nearly a month. The House successfully passed on a procedural vote 215 to 211 team-up votes on an appropriations bill for the State Department, daylight savings time, and a measure to improve veterans' benefits. And Johnson also agreed to a pair of State Department funding bills with the Save America Act, prompting several conservative holdouts to flip their votes after demanding the House increase pressure on the Senate to pass the stalled efforts. Congressman Randy Fine from Florida was the lone Republican to oppose the rule, while all Democrats voted no in the party line procedural vote. The conservatives have blocked. I wonder why Fine did that, man. The conservatives have blocked major House legislation since late June, in an effort to force the GOP leaders to hold floor votes on the Trump-backed Save America Act and the sweeping border security bill. Given the House Republican slim majority, Johnson could only spare a handful of GOP defections. The Speaker has been under mounting pressure to get the House moving again and advance a backlog of legislation ahead of the November midterm elections. The GOP are facing a draft blueprint of the third big, beautiful bill in addition to clearing government funding bills before the September 30th deadline and a potential supplemental package covering the price tag of the Iran war. Congressman Anna Paulina Luna was among the GOP rebels who effectively shut down the chamber and to pressure the Senate to pass the Save America Act and agree to unlock the floor after Johnson proposed pairing an election measure with the State Department appropriations bill. And then Johnson sought to attach the Save America Act to the House version of the Annual Defense Policy Bill before the July 4th recess, but Luna continued the block anyway. If John Thune strips it out of the Senate, it will be on him, and the entire country should be watching what he does, Luna wrote. Thune, who is supportive of the Save America Act, has repeatedly insisted that the votes do not exist in the upper chamber to pass the Trump-backed legislation amid unified opposition from Democrats. The House Republicans, with little leverage to force Senate action on the Save America Act, some of the GOP holdouts have threatened to oppose the rule unless House Republican leadership agreed to schedule a vote on a border security package. Members of the Conservative Freedom Caucus are advocating for a vote on the permanent Trump Secured Border Act, which could codify several Trump executive orders targeting illegal immigration, including an end to catch and release policies. Stuff that was in effect during the Biden administration that needs to be thrown out of the government, right? We need to deliver these codifying border security dealt with birthright citizenship issue. Chip Roy said, "These are all issues that I represent care and entity, and we have talked about doing, and we need to deliver." All right. So the Save America Act is going to be added to bills over and over again until the Senate finally comes to its senses and finally votes for it. All right. All right. Next, the president is going to get one of his wishes, and that's going to be daylight savings time passed through the House of Representatives yesterday. A bipartisan vote. It was a 308 to 117. The only stipulation in this is that states have the right to not adopt the daylight savings time measure and stay on standard time. That might wreak a little bit of havoc for people traveling in and out of states and stuff. But I think the vast majority of states will go with it. Now, just be on one side. Well, it's got to make it through the Senate first, right? And they can amend it to make it nationwide, right? Or they can just pass it as is, sign it, and send it to the president. All right. But that's a really good deal. But it's got to make it through the Senate first. And Thune says he doesn't think he has 60 votes to make it through. We'll see about that. All right. What are we looking like? It's 8:40. Now, Jack Smith. Oh my goodness. This man needs to be indicted, convicted, and thrown in jail. I got 2 articles on this. So we all know about Arctic frost, right? Arctic frost is an attempt to hamstring President Trump, where he would not be able to run for the presidency back in 2024. He tried his best. He tried with the classified information down in Mar-a-Lago, the so-called classified information, because the president has the capability of declassifying everything by writing or by verbal. All right. And then you had the 2020 election interference stuff he was talking about in D.C. area. And Jack Smith did everything in his power to be able to hamstring the president and more. All right. So this has been classified as an abuse of power. I'm telling you, Jack Smith needs to be thrown in jail. All right. Former special counsel Jack Smith's investigation to President Trump's swept up text messages from nearly 50 members of Congress, bypassing a required review process in which one victim allegedly under a direct constitutional violation. Judicial Chairman Chuck Grassley said said the situation is more proof of Smith's probe was a runaway train of abuses of power, and the elder statesman and Senate Investigation Subcommittee Senator Ron Johnson jointly released their findings on Tuesday evening. Now, this is crazy, right? So, hold on, let me go to this other article. I'm going to just reference it. The speech or debate clause of the U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 6, reserves a check on executive power and is designed to prevent members of Congress from being questioned in any other place, ensuring they cannot be subject to scrutiny of the Justice Department or judicial branch of their legislative acts. All right? So this is what happened. From, where's those dates? Okay, so I'm just going to read this part. This is from the Judiciary Committee, all right? The House Judiciary Committee. And I know I'm not going to get to the rest of the podcast because I got 15 minutes left. At this point, I really don't care because this is important. This is a blatant disregard for the United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights. These jackbooted thugs think that they can run roughshod over our Constitution. Like I said, Section 1, Article 1, Section 6 says they cannot do this. Special counsel's investigative team obtained and reviewed text messages from 44 members of Congress as a part of the Biden administration's justice criminal investigation to President Trump. Evidence shows that investigators bypassed a required filter team review process, violating investigating protocols and potentially infringing on the constitutional guardrails. The bombshell discovery comes in new records released today by Senate Chairman Chuck Grassley and Senate Permanent Committee Subchair Ron Johnson as part of their ongoing Arctic frost oversight. Grassley and Johnson requested the records from DOJ after receiving legally protected whistleblower disclosures. The Justice Department's letter to the chair and the provided documents indicate Smith's investigative team circumvented their own filter review process, which was established to protect privileged materials from being swept up in a criminal prosecution, and directly access the contents of the text messages by Republicans and Democrat senators and members of the House of Representatives to White House officials during Trump's first term. Communications from members of Congress pertaining to their official legislative duties are protected from criminal prosecution under the Constitution's Speech and Debate Clause, Article 1, Section 6. Bypassing the filter team evades consideration for additional privileges, such as attorney-client privilege. Both Grassley and Johnson's text messages were obtained by the Smiths team. Jack Smith's criminal investigation of President Trump was a runaway train that had no brakes, based on information that had been produced to me and Senator Johnson. Biden's DOJ and FBI investigators, that'd be Merrick Garland and Christopher Wray, apparently ignored their own routine investigative protocols to obtain and review work-related messages from me and dozens of my Republican and Democrat colleagues who were outside the scope of the government's investigation, Grassley said. I hope my Democrat colleagues, several of whom had their own text messages swept up, finally put partisanship aside and recognize the severity of these actions. Smith's team ran roughshod over the Constitution even after repeated warnings. Jack Smith has answering to do, and I intend to have him before the Judiciary Committee in the coming months to hold him accountable. I would have him up there tomorrow. Talk is cheap, Mr. Senator. Talk is very cheap. You need to have him up there now before he can think of how he wants to manipulate on how he took your text messages. So, 847. Here's the background. I'm not even going to talk about Senator Johnson, what he said. The records are summarized in a DOJ cover letter. Provided evidence that Biden's Justice Department established a filter team to evaluate materials obtained in the course of Jack Smith's investigation relating to January 6, referred as Project Coconut. Don't give me, I don't have a clue. And his Mar-a-Lago documents investigation, referred as Project Cranberry. The filter team's purpose was to prevent investigators from the special counsel's office and the FBI investigating team from accessing privileged materials from among the records obtained during the course of these investigations. The DOJ letter further states the special counsel's investigative team apparently bypassed the filter team and directly accessed these text messages. In June 2023, the special counsel's office subpoenaed the National Archives and Records Administration, NARA, to provide all text messages from October 2020 to January 20th, 2021 from phones associated with a long list of personnel serving in the White House during Trump's first term, including Trump, Mark Meadows, Dan Scavino, Ivanka Trump, Stephen Miller, Peter Navarro, John Ratcliffe, who is the CIA director, Kash Patel, who is now the FBI director, Rudy Giuliani, Kellyanne Conway, and the Vice President Mike Pence. NARA provided the text to the Special Counsel's Office on August 21st, 2023. Within a half an hour, one of Smith's senior lawyers, Thomas Wyndham, downloaded the text, and within 1 hour, other members of Smith's investigative teams downloaded and began reviewing the text messages. It appears the review was done without waiting for the filter team to evaluate and segregate the privileged information. I heard last night that Sean Hannity said his text messages were included with several of these. Wow, there's even more. If you print it out, if you go to the Senate Judiciary Committee, you can print more of this stuff off. But before I continue on with this, right? Here's a list of the 44 people, and there are Democrats on here. Senator Chuck Grassley, Senator Ron Johnson, Senator John Cornyn, the late Senator Lindsey Graham, Senator Josh Hawley, Senator Mike Lee, Democrat Senator Spartacus Cory Booker, Senator Cindy Hyde Smith, Senator Dan Sullivan, Senator David Perdue, Senator Lamar Alexander, Senator Martha McSally, Senator Rand Paul, Senator Rick Scott, Senator Rob Portman, Senator Roy Blunt, Senator Susan Collins, Senator Tim Scott, Senator Tom Cotton, Senator Cory Gardner, and then there's only one Democrat on that list. And then you have Congressman, the rest of these are congressmen. Kevin McCarthy, former Speaker, Steve Scalise, the Majority Leader, Jim Jordan, Devin Nunes, Adam Smith, a Democrat from Washington, Andy Biggs, Mark Walker, Brian Steele, Dan Newhouse, Doug Collins, Dusty Johnson, Elise Stefanik, John Katko, Joshua Goldenheimer, he's a Democrat from New Jersey, Karen Bass from Democrat from California and the current mayor of Los Angeles, Ken Buck, Lee Zeldin, Mario Diaz Bartla, Mo Brooks, Morgan Griffith, Rodney Davis, Russ Fulcher, Scott Perry, and then Thomas Massey, the fake Republican. These 44 people had their text messages taken and read by Jack Smith's legal team. They were read, not just, oh, this person texted this phone number. They actually read the text messages. I'm telling you, that's abuse of power, obstruction of justice. They violated the Constitution of the United States. There should be a lot paid for on this one. A lot. So I think that's enough said about that. But, oh my goodness, man. And all in the name of Operation Arctic Frost. Elise Slotkin, she's the former CIA operative, and she's the current senator from the state of Michigan. She was talking yesterday, and she said the Save America Act would make it hard for any Democrat to win an election, because with the Save America Act, it severely restricts mail-in balloting. You have to show registration to be registered, and you got to show photo ID to be able to vote. At least Alessa Slotkin, senator, said the Safeguard America Voter Eligibility Act would make it harder for Democrats to win elections, prompting Republicans to argue she had finally said the quiet part out loud about Democrats' opposition to stricter election laws. Slotkin made the remarks in a video recently unearthed by Breitbart News that was recorded one day after the Senate narrowly rejected the Save America Act in June. The failed bill 50-48 after 4 Republicans joined the Democrats in voting against it. The Save America Act has become one of the biggest legislative fights in Congress, and President Trump has made it his priority for passage. Trump refused to sign a housing bill Friday in protest of Congress's failure to pass the Save America Act. It would be hard for any Democrat in any state to win an election, she said of the Save America Act. Slotkin did not explain how the legislation would hurt Democrat politicians. The Save America Act would require documentary proof to be a U.S. citizen, and you got to show photo ID to be able to vote. Okay, so just say, she said the quiet part out loud, that mail-in ballots are how they win elections. I mean, just look at Spencer Pratt in Los Angeles over their election. Mail-in ballots is what turned the election, and there's no security in it. It's a bad ruling by the Supreme Court. I don't know what to do. Pass this legislation, and we can deal with it, right? Senator Jim Banks from Indiana, is proposing a law, and he's introducing it to the Senate to end birthright citizenship, following the roadmap that Justice Kavanaugh put out. Okay, how to be able to legally do it where it won't be overturned by the Supreme Court. I'm not even going to get to this part. Oh my goodness, because it's already 8:57. Hold on, give me a second. I'll briefly go about what's going on it. Okay, I got to get ready for this part. Go back over here. Nobody chatted with me today. What's up with that? Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about before I raid over the Dan Bongino. Thank y'all, everybody is watching today. Please give me a like for the episode. Give me that thumbs up, please, okay? The Justice Department and FBI have a new communist financier on their crosshairs for alleged financial crimes. James Fergie Cox Chambers Jr., the estranged bad boy of the heir of the Cox Cable empire. Cox Cable, wow. On Friday, Spanish police detained Chambers on a luxury island of Ibiza in response to an international arrest warrant. According to sources, Chambers is allegedly wanted for money laundering and providing support to Hamas following years of financing anti-Israel and anti-West organizations and protests. The transnational network he helped fund and support is kicking in to cast him as a victim of the Trump administration's fascism, while critics are cheering the arrest as long overdue. Because we're out of time. It's against the law. It's against the Logan Act and a slew of other ones to provide monetary funds and support to the enemies of the United States. Flat out, all stop, done. I'll talk more about it tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. on the JP8 report. I'm going to raid us over to the Dan Bongino show. Thank y'all very much for tuning in today. So let me initiate the raid. Scott's gray. I'm sleeping. All right. All right. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning at 6. I know. Confirm. See y'all later. All right. Catch you on the flip side. I'm out.